dollar-art.com, and what we're going to do right now is we are going to go ahead and repurpose an old candle. Now this candle is its wick burned down. It's not real nice looking. I mean, it got kind of a little bit crusty. You know, it happens on occasion. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and melt this down using a pan that we got from the thrift store. It's actually, I think, a fondue pot, but either way, it was $1. We're going to use this wine glass that we got from the dollar store and some of our homemade wick that I showed you how to do in the other videos. So, basically this is a way to get an old junky candle to look nice again. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put this this pot on high, as you can see, and it is smoking a little bit. Now you want to be careful to not let this thing hit the edge there, because it will try to go all over, and if you get this in your oven, it will be a nightmare. So just try to keep the candle upright, you know, use a wooden spoon if necessary. Meanwhile, I went ahead and grabbed some blue tape and went around the outside rim of the glass, which makes it so that the when we do pour the wax, it's not going to just, you know, ruin the top of the glass. I also went ahead and taped our wick to the bottom using regular, just clear office tape, and taped it to the top of this wooden spoon as well. Now, you may want an extra wooden spoon just to help you pour, but keep in mind that once you use it for this project, it will always be for this project. Same goes with the pan. Now, you can clean the pan out, but it's kind of a nightmare to do, so getting wax out of stuff is not ever fun. Now, also make sure you have your oven fan on high, because this will set off your smoke alarm. So, the other thing to keep in mind is with the candle, you definitely want to make sure that when this thing does flop over, you aren't standing immediately in the vicinity, because it will splash hot boiling wax on you. Now, once the candle starts to get going, now this thing is red hot, it's melting pretty fast. Once it starts to get going, you're going to want to turn that down to medium-high, because you also don't want to cook the wax. Now, cooking the wax will just, you know, it won't help us out at all. I did go ahead and grab one of these from the dollar store as well. Now, I'm not really too trusting of how well they'll hold up to heat, but the idea was to help it pour a little bit better. I wish this thing had a little, like, divot spout on it so you could just pour straight out of it, but unfortunately it does not. As I said, you may want to grab a wooden... There we go. Okay, once it gets short enough, you can just do that. Also with the candle, make sure there's not any plastic barcodes or whatnot on the bottom of it. You don't want that melting into here. Now, don't worry about the wick right now. The wick is fine. We'll deal with the wick later when we start pouring. Alright? Okay, so I wound up having a little bit extra on the burgundy, so we went ahead and just did another one. This one I'm just holding up with a spoon, but you can see that the wick is going more or less straight down through the center, and any spills you want to make sure to let those dry and then clean those up so you don't wind up having your oven smoke later on. Alright, we'll touch back once this is completely set up, and you'll see how they look. Thanks. How to make the wicks video right now is a perfect point to do it. When you have just a little bit of wax still going right there, and it's not bubbling or anything like that. You know, this is on medium-high, but you take dollar store twine, you coat it in Dawn dish soap. Now once you're done coating it in the Dawn dish soap, you microwave it for about 5 minutes on medium. You don't want to do it on high, but do it on medium between 2 paper towels. That will dry it out just enough that it's a little crispy to the touch. Then go ahead and plop your string in here, swirl it around a bit, pull it back out. Now it will foam a little bit, don't be concerned about that. That's perfectly fine. It won't hurt the wax that we're going to be using for the candle, and it won't bubble up over to the top and ruin your oven. Then you go ahead and put that string back on paper towels, and you're golden. Let that dry out. You can just let it sit overnight, or you can, well, you really can use it immediately, but I would let it sit overnight just to get it a little bit harder. Alright? A nice big candle. It's starting to get down there a little bit. We're just letting that stir in there. Now this is that spoon that I bought specifically for this ages ago, but I still use it on a regular basis. As I said, once you get the wax on this stuff, it just doesn't come off, so it's better just to have one that's dedicated solely for this. Now, if you have a spoon that maybe somebody accidentally stuck in the dishwasher that's a wooden spoon that you can't use anymore for cooking, you go ahead and use that for this. I mean, there's no harm in reusing something that's no longer usable, right? Okay, we still have a decent-sized clump in there. But we're starting to get some decent levels as far as wax, too. Now this candle wax is it's nice and clear right now, but it will go back to almost a white color once it's been poured. If you wanted to add scent to this, this would be a good time to do so. Now, be careful with adding scents, like for instance, the incense at the dollar store, the liquid incense. Do not use that. It will bubble up and, well, essentially explode all over your oven, which is not a good idea. You can, however, go to Walmart and buy a small thing of scented candle blocks or actual candle scent there, and it's real cheap. It's about $1 or so. We're getting down to the little bits now. Hopefully this will not take too much longer. It's been about 15 minutes so far. Now, with some of the cheaper candles, this was obviously a pretty high quality one. With some of the cheaper candles, you can get those to work in the microwave in something like this. But the downside, of course, is it's hard to tell until you get the candle into either this or the pot. Now, with what I do is I actually just go to the thrift store and buy a giant 30-pound bag of old candles. It's usually around $3 or $4 at the Veterans Thrift Store. But anywho, with those you wind up with a lot of them that are broken, and this is a good way to reuse those and upcycle them and make them so they're actually useful again. Now you can also do this with a regular jar if you want. I mean, I have done that in the past, and it turned out very nicely. The reason I took down the other video is because the potpourri was having some issues, so. Okay, so we're at the point that I'm pulling out this little tiny piece of wax with the dangling string on it. We're not going to use that, we're just going to throw that away. Alright? It's just going to make it a little bit easier to... Ow. Be careful when doing this. This thing gets ridiculously hot. Okay, so we have our little painter guy, and we're just going to go ahead. Pour that into there. Okay, and we're just going to sling that wick back over that spoon and just let it set up. Now these do take about a day or two to set up, so just be patient, wait, and you'll have a beautiful candle at the end of it. Alright, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe if this video helped you at all. Appreciate your time. Once the wax settles, sometimes it will wind up with these nice little pockets inside. Now this is great if you want to do multicolored candles. With this one, I'm going to go ahead and, since it's a wine glass, I've got a nice burgundy wax going here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in that rest of it with the burgundy wax, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so there's our finished product. We just remove the tape, giving us a nice clean edge on the glass. It'll all just come right off like that. And then we just trim the wick up, and we've got a beautiful new candle out of what once was a couple of broken red ones and a really grungy white one. Hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching, subscribing, liking, all the things you guys do that make this worthwhile. Thanks. Have a great day.